Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making artisan bread at home. Crispy crust, soft crumb, and no fancy tools. I'll walk you through every step, so let's get started. First, you'll want to add 3 3/4 cups of bread flour. Bread flour and all-purpose flour look the same, but bread flour has more protein. That extra protein creates more gluten, which gives artisan bread its chewy texture and a better rise. Next, add 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast or 1 packet. The base of this bread is only 4 ingredients. If you don't have bread flour, all-purpose flour works too. You'll get a slightly tighter crumb and a softer crust, but the flavor will still be great. I couldn't find my 1/4 of a teaspoon, so I'm measuring out half of 1/2 of a teaspoon. Now we're just going to give that a little stir, and we're going to add some salt. You want to add about 2 teaspoons of salt. Next, you want to add 1 1/2 cups of warm water. Make sure the temperature is between 120 and 130 degrees Fahrenheit. This just helps the yeast activate properly without killing it. I'm mixing everything by hand, just with a bowl and a spoon that is strong enough to mix. At first, it looks a bit dry and messy, and that's okay. As I knead, the dough slowly comes together, becoming smooth and elastic. Sometimes it just takes a few minutes for the water to dissipate and hydrate the flour, so just keep kneading. This is usually the point where people want to add more water, but try to resist it. The dough just needs a little more time to come together. Try pressing the dough down in the bowl with the back of the spoon. If it presses down smoothly, then the flour has hydrated and you're right where you want to be. Now it's time to get our hands in the dough. Don't worry if it's sticky at first, that's normal. Start by folding it in over and pressing gently with the heels of your hands or your knuckles. As you knead, you'll feel it slowly come together, becoming smooth, elastic, and a little springy. This is where the magic happens. Kneading develops the gluten that gives artisan bread its structure and chew. Take your time and enjoy the process. It's surprisingly relaxing and really satisfying to feel the dough transform under your hands. Artisan bread was actually the first thing I ever taught myself how to make from scratch. There's something so satisfying about turning just flour, water, yeast, and salt into a beautiful loaf. It really hooked me onto baking. Once the dough is nice and smooth, shape it into a ball and place it back into the bowl. You want to cover it with whatever you have on hand. I'm using a plate, but a clean towel works just as well. Then let it rest and start to rise. We're going to set it aside for about 1 to 2 hours. This step is completely optional, but to a separate bowl, I added some oil from my sun-dried tomatoes. I also added some onion powder, rosemary, Italian seasoning and herb, some basil. One of the best things about artisan bread is how easy it is to customize. You can mix in herbs, garlic, seeds, or even cheese. Almost anything works. I minced up about 3 garlic cloves, and added that to the bowl. And then I'm going to dice up 2 sun-dried tomatoes and add that to the bowl as well. Then I added some avocado oil just to make it a little bit thinner. I call this my green paste, and that is how it should look. So after the first rise, about an hour or 2 after, this is where you want to add in the green paste mixture. I like to press down in the middle and pour all of the paste in the middle of it and then fold it in. Now this step can get a little messy and that's totally normal. I fold the sides over gently, pulling and folding until everything is incorporated. Don't worry if it looks sticky or uneven, it'll all come together as you knead it a few times. I went ahead and put a glove on, but that is completely optional. You don't have to do that. After adding in your mix-ins and shaping it, we're gonna let the dough rise a second time. It usually takes 1 to 2 hours at room temperature until it looks puffy and has almost doubled in size, but because it's been very cold where I live, I'm talking temperatures in the negatives. My house isn't as warm as usual. In cooler environments, dough rises more slowly, so be patient, it may take longer than usual. Next, I'm prepping my Dutch oven. I add a little avocado oil to prevent the pot from heating completely empty. Thermal shock can lead to cracks, chips, or even damage to the enamel, especially in cheaper or older Dutch ovens. I placed it in the cold oven and set the temperature to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and let it heat up for about 30 minutes. Because it's cooler in my house, I put the dough on the countertop. The extra warmth helps it rise more steadily. I let it rest for about 30 minutes and then I went in to shape it a little bit. I covered it back up with parchment paper and I let it rest. Now that the Dutch oven is fully preheated, it's time to add the bread. We're going to carefully lower it in using the parchment paper. The pot is extremely hot, so take your time and don't burn yourself. Now it's time to score the bread. Scoring lets the bread expand naturally while it bakes. You only need to cut about a 1/4 inch deep using a sharp knife or a razor blade. Bake the bread at 400 degrees Fahrenheit with the lid on for about 20 minutes, then remove the lid and bake for another 10 minutes so the crust can get nice and brown. After baking, I set the Dutch oven on a rack so it doesn't damage the counters. And now comes the best part. And just like that, a beautiful homemade artisan loaf. Simple ingredients, a little patience, and so worth it. Let it cool down. You'll get the best texture if you let it cool, but when excited kids run into the kitchen, rules go out the window. And warm bread is really hard to resist. If you try this recipe, let me know how it turns out in the comments. Thanks for baking along with me. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.